Okay, so I'm going to be showing you a Terran build, the Marauder medevac build. So I'm just going to be going through. This is a very sort of standard but easy build for Terrans. It's really good for those players who are newer because this build is a lot easier to do than a lot of other builds, and it's still very, very strong. So I was playing against a harder AI, or hard AI, and it was set to random, and the map was Lost Temple. So it's a 4-player map, so I don't know exactly where I spawned. Now, I didn't do everything perfectly in this game. I'm still a little bit rusty after the long break, but pretty good for you to see how easy it is with Terran to have a decent build and still be able to win some games. Okay, so right off the bat, I've got the usual opener. I was just snoozing a little bit so when the game started, but anyways, usual opener. Nothing's really that weird, so I'm just going to fast forward this, keep going, and it's the same build that I've been showing you in the other videos. You know, you get your supply depot at 10, you get your barracks at 12, you get your refinery at 13.
Additional supply depots required.
And of course, there's always that 1 second there where you can't build. That just always happens with this build. Anyways, now the thing that's sort of interesting, I just want to point out. Ooh, let's pause it. I throw out a marine first. That's the very thing I build out of my barracks. Now, do note that I am more skilled, so I built an orbital command right away because I do have the extra micro most of the time to be able to use my orbital command. Still build one anyways, but build it later in the game if you don't have the micro to be able to throw down mules often. Just use that 150 to build an extra barracks or something. So, orbital command, once you have the skill to be able to use mules with it and, you know, build it, it's really helpful, really speeds up your build, but of course don't get it so early if you can't use it efficiently. Now, I do have 3 on the gas right from the get-go, and as soon as that first marine popped out, I started on the tech lab. Now, I also built my supply depot a bit earlier than I needed to just to finish the wall off, but I did have the extra minerals, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's just make it twice as fast now. Okay, I put them down to let them in. And notice I'm going straight for a second barracks. That's the next thing that I'm doing. Let's go under production. Just so you can sort of see what I'm building at times. See, I started another refinery now. You don't necessarily need the refinery that early. It's still good to get it though. Sending out a scout just to find out where my opponent is. And notice I've started building Marauders. Marauders are very, very, very strong. The only reason why you really mix Marines in with this build is in case your opponent gets something like Immortals if he's Protoss, or to defeat air. Now I've got both gas going, full swing. I've got to build another supply depot, of course. That's the second, pretty good timing on that. Build another one just because. And tech lab on the other barracks. I got a couple Marines now, but I'm mainly pumping out Marauders from these 2 barracks. So I scouted, I found their base, saw that they have like a roach warren, and they've got, you know, spawning pool and stuff, so I'm really not too concerned right now that they're going to do any air or anything really weird. It's pretty standard. Of course it's AI, so I know it's standard, but just saying. And now I'm going down a factory. This is so I can get a starport for the medevacs. Now, sort of just to let you know, really you're going to be getting, you've got your 2 barracks and you're going to want to always be pumping out units. Mainly Marauders, get a few Marines mixed in there just in case they get air or just against things like Immortals. And I've still got gas going full. Now notice right here, what actually happened is I've got way too much gas, so I'm actually taking a couple of workers off my gas, throwing them on the mineral line until I start needing gas again. So, and the other really important thing to notice is not only did I get my factory around 35 supply, I also got my engineering bay. Because this is going to be a very infantry intensive, you want to get this engineering bay because it allows you to upgrade your infantry here. And now you'll notice I'm bringing out the starport so I can start getting medevacs. I should also be getting another barracks around this time too. So, and that will be coming down soon. And the other thing is I probably should have researched concussive shells earlier, because if I'm playing against a Protoss player, they are invaluable. And I will want to be getting stim pack very soon as well after the concussive shells. My researching technology wasn't exactly spot on because I don't always play this build that often. I like to have a lot of fun and play different builds. So, forgot about that guy for a little bit, but we'll ignore him. So notice I've just been building lots of SCVs. I'm just pumping tons out. I got nothing building in the factory, but what I did do is I put the reactor core on here because I want my starport to have a reactor core so that I can put out 2 starports at a time. So that's what I've done. I'm gonna have that started building before the starport finished. This way I can get on the starport much faster. I really should have started it earlier. I just sort of forgot about it. So as you can see, I put down my 3rd barracks. I'm gonna be putting a tech add-on on there soon. I'm still building out a lot of Marauders mainly. I guess I forgot to build for a few seconds, doing too many things at once. I'm also putting down 2nd command center. I had lots of minerals, you know, so I could afford to expand. You know, expansion time is your own thing. You don't have to put the sensor tower, I just put it there for fun. But do notice I am researching. I'm upgrading them a little bit. And also getting stim pack. Oh, I already have stim pack. And concussive shells. Now I'm moving on to just getting the combat shields because I do have the extra minerals to afford that. So, you know, once again, so I've got quite a few SCVs out. I could still build a few more because that way, once this is ready, I could actually move all the excess ones down to the other expansion. So it really doesn't matter. But, you know, that's just something you can do to be a little bit faster, better. And as you'll notice, I've placed supply depots everywhere so that I can get nice sight so they can't do a drop or something on me. And you can see I'm going to be putting my expansion down, so I'm moving out, putting up a couple of bunkers, and moving all my forces there. Now, one thing to note is originally I had them on this high ground ridge here. That's because when the enemy comes through, unless they walk right along the edge, my units can shoot them as they come in, and I get some free hits. Very valuable. Of course, you can see I'm now starting to get out the dropships. Dropships, you want to click on this button, scan move, and then click on a unit, and they will follow your units around for you. This SCV, a little bit later, I'm going to just put him on auto repair by right-clicking the repair button, right about now, and having him stay here so he can repair bunkers when I get attacked. Also, I'm building these refineries in advanced planning because I know this orbital command is going to drop there soon. I turned it into an orbital command first because since I didn't build it down here, well, it's flying over, it's really slow, so I built it and it can store up some energy to get mules right away. Dropships, I should be putting them on my army right now. I'm just doing so many things at once. And of course, I'm getting these upgrades when I can afford them, but I forgot to put all 3 back on gas for a while, so I was a little short on gas for a little bit, but other than that, you know, you'd be getting these upgrades as you can. Of course, stim pack was one of the real important ones, and concussive shell. So you can see the opponents pushing out. I could see that in my sensor tower. I pinged the map just to let you guys know. And this is going to be an easy battle because I do have the 2 bunkers here. It's not going to be a problem. I get my whole army in. I didn't use stim pack because it's not a big enough battle. It's not worth wasting. And these dropships help heal my units. If I'd had these 2 here, I would have lost even less units. Would have been a lot better, but I forgot about the other 2 dropships. And as you can see, let's go under units. And I have 16 Marauders to 11 Marines. I won't be building many more Marines. 11's quite a few. But 16, you really want that Marauder count high. My SCV count is actually low because I'm not really trying that hard. And I also got supply blocked quite a few times by not paying attention. So, of course, pumping out two medevacs at a time. I like to have about 6 medevacs on average. Some players only play with 4. I usually like to have 6. I've got my Marauders queued up, of course, but I'm just waiting for supply, and I'm always researching these. Throwing down 2 more barracks. I have the extra minerals. I probably should have thrown another barracks earlier. For this build, you want to have at least 4 barracks, it's probably 5. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. It's pretty boring for a while. Because, okay, I salvaged those 2 bunkers. I now have a big enough army to hold my gate and push out if I want. So I'm salvaging those 2. I'm going to destroy these rocks and grab the gold expansion. I have a lot of minerals. I can afford another command center. And I've got, you know, enough buildings to start pumping out a lot of units. Because I'll have 5 barracks soon. So once again, putting those dropships to heal those guys, follow them around. Still doing my upgrades here. Well, not right now, I guess. But I have been doing them. As you can see, I already have 1 armor and 1 weapon, as well as having concussive shells for Marauders, which are very useful, and the shields giving the Marines 10 extra life, which is great as well. The main reason why I would put in a few extra Marines if I do build some more is just because I have combat shields. They're pretty strong, and my opponent hasn't been going anything that really owns Marines that well. As you can see, I already had 5 dropships out. I built 2 more, 7, whatever. I don't really care having a couple extras. Some people don't like to have too many extra just because it eats into the other army. Now, in my sensor tower, I noticed these guys moving in. I tried to move my army back to this choke. but I used the wrong hotkey, so my army was in still good position though. I still got a nice concave, you know, but you just gotta be careful. You wanna make sure your army's always in good position against zerg, somewhere where they can't surround you. So stimmed up just to make sure that that battle is easily won. Of course, they did have a weak army, so it really wasn't a problem. So you can see I'm up to 29 Marauders. Tons and tons of Marauders are the big ones. You always want to have a lot. I'm sort of just forgot about these upgrades for a while, but I really should be. But notice I've got 5 barracks now. They've all got tech labs. I threw down a second starport because I saw they had some mutalisks in their army when they attacked me. So now I want to start getting out some Vikings. Also want to get out a Raven because later in the game they can be quite useful. Now, especially if your opponent decides to burrow, because a lot of Zerg players will research burrow, or at least some will. But as you can see, I'm getting out a couple Vikings, but I'm getting out these Vikings because I saw those mutalisks. So it's a tech transition. I also threw down a second factory because I have a lot of minerals. This way I have a lot of options to be able to do what I want. Now as you can see, all those SCVs are moving. Why? Well, this base is empty. That's one reason. The other reason is this base is just about to finish. I actually sent them out a little bit too early, or a little bit too late, depending how you want to look at it. But basically, they should be making this mineral run, and this should finish so that they go straight back to this one instead of taking a long route to a different one. I'm turning this into a planetary fortress because, you know, I'm not sure. It might get attacked because gold expansions, people try and take them out. And notice, I had been saving up the energy in my command centers to drop all the mules at the gold here because it's way more useful. You see another big battle going on. Now they've started using infestors and fungal growth on me. Very smart for them, not too great for me. So what I'm going to do to react to this is I'm actually going to throw down, let's go production, and very soon you should see me throwing down a Ghost Academy to get some ghosts, and that way, there it is, I can EMP their infestors before they can cast fungal growth, and that'll take out their energy and they won't be able to cast fungal growth on me. As you can see now, I've been doing these upgrades. I also built a second engineering bay so I can get both upgrades at the same time. I do have the minerals for it because I'm going very infantry intensive. I haven't been trading armies often, so I've got a lot of resources. Now, if you want, you could even build a couple more barracks, go up to 7, just to make sure. As I said, I've got these Vikings because I saw some mutalisks, but they haven't been playing the mutalisks much, so I'm not too worried about having a lot of Vikings. The other thing that I did too, I threw down, you have to throw down the armory to get certain upgrades at the engineering bay, past level 1. So I'm also researching the ship plating because I have those drop ships. They can't attack, but I want them to stay alive longer, so I'm getting the ship plating for them. So as you can see, this is the Marine Marauder Medivac build, or Triple M. Marauders are extremely strong units, but they can't shoot air, so that's why you mix in the Marine with air. Checking, making sure they don't have a gold. But yeah, the medevacs, used to back them up, use stim packs for big battles. You just get a nice tight ball. If it's a zergling, if you're against zerg, you got to be careful. You don't want to get surrounded. If it's against Protoss, you just send them in there, hope, get them to spread out in a nice concave to do lots of damage. Zerg, it's good to just sort of keep them clumped up as possible, because if you spread them out, then they can attack more units. Another big battle here, they do have some mutalisks. My Vikings were a little out of place. I was going to bring them over, just forgot. They've got some corruptors too, chasing them down. Now, I didn't have my ghosts with me yet. I did build the ghosts, but I haven't had time to bring them up yet. So they will be coming up soon along with these. So the ghosts can EMP any infestors. These can help take care of those mutalisks and kill them faster. And then, pretty easy battle from here on out though. You know, it's a computer. They're not really that smart now, it becomes harder.